The sun burned hot over the bustling Ukwo market, where traders shouted over one another, their voices clashing like cymbals in the air. Amid the chaos, a woman in a faded wrapper stormed through the crowd, her face twisted in rage. She shoved past startled buyers, knocking over a basket of tomatoes. But she didn't stop. She was headed for the most popular fabric stall in the entire market, the one owned by Ifeoma. Witch, thief, may the gods punish you, the woman screamed, pointing a shaking finger. Ifeoma's hands, which had been folding a rich purple fabric, froze. The market women gasped, turning eager eyes to the drama unfolding. Then, from the shadows of a nearby stall, Chinwe, Ifeoma's own sister, smirked. The trap had been set, and Ifeoma was about to fall right into it. The woman's piercing cry shattered the usual market noise, drawing heads from every corner. You sold me cursed fabric. My daughter fell sick the moment she wore it. The gods will judge you, she shrieked, her voice raw with anger. Murmurs spread like wildfire. Customers clutched their purchases tighter. Some took a step back from Ifeoma's stall. Ifeoma's heart pounded. What are you talking about? I don't sell cursed fabrics. The woman grabbed the rich purple cloth from Ifeoma's stall and flung it onto the dusty ground. This is the fabric. You knew it was evil, yet you sold it to me. I should have known. You are too successful for it to be ordinary. Gasp rippled through the crowd. Too successful? The phrase carried weight. Suspicion thickened the air. In the crowd, Chinwe watched, her hands folded, her lips twitching in satisfaction. Then, a trader's voice cut through the whispers, feeding the growing fear. Perhaps she truly is using something to draw customers. Nobody sells like Ifeoma. A dangerous shift in the air. Ifeoma was no longer just a trader, she was an accused woman. The murmur of voices swelled into an ominous chorus. Doubt, suspicion, fear. It spread like an infection, and Ifeoma could feel it tightening around her throat. Then another voice rang out, sharper, bolder. I knew something was off. It was Mama Uju, a trader who sold cheap fabrics at the far end of the market. She had always envied Ifeoma's success. Now, her eyes gleamed with opportunity. How can one person have all the customers, while the rest of us struggle? She must have gone to some dark place for her wealth. Mama Uju eased. A wave of agreement swept through the crowd. Yes, no one prospers like that without help. What if she has been enchanting us all along? Maybe that's why her sister's shop is always empty. She took all the luck for herself. If only Ifeoma knew how true those last words were. Chinwe stepped forward, her expression carefully measured. Her lips trembled as if she were troubled, a sister caught between loyalty and doubt. Please, let's not rush to judgment, my sisters. Ifeoma is not a bad person, but she let the silence stretch. If she's innocent, let her prove it before the market elders, or better still, before the dibia. Gasps, whispers, a trial before the dibia. The mere mention sent chills through Ifeoma's spine. The people turned to her, waiting, expecting. If she refused, they would take it as a confession. And Chinwe knew that. Ifeoma's throat felt dry. Her eyes darted across the crowd, searching for a friendly face, a single person who would speak for her. But even her most loyal customers wouldn't meet her gaze. I don't need to prove anything. I have never cheated anyone, she protested, her voice trembling. The market women exchanged glances. Ifeoma had the dangerous whispers spreading like wildfire. See how she's shaking. If she was truly innocent, would she be so afraid? Exactly. A clear conscience fears nothing. Mama Uju took a step closer, her lips curled in mock concern. Ifeoma, we just want the truth. If you have done nothing wrong, then there is nothing to fear. Or is there? More voices joined in. Yes, let her prove herself. The Dibia will know if she's lying. Ifeoma's breath quickened. A trial before the Dibia? Everyone knew what that meant. It wasn't just a test of innocence. The Dibia used ancient methods, charms, rituals, and spiritual readings. If they believed she was guilty, her fate could be sealed with a single pronouncement. Her hands clenched into fists. I will not. Sister, please. Ifeoma turned sharply. Chinwe, her younger sister, stepped forward, her face twisted in pity. She reached for Ifeoma's hands, squeezing them gently, like a sister who wanted to believe in her but was slowly losing faith. Please, just clear your name. I believe you. But they won't unless you do this. Silence fell over the crowd. All eyes were on Ifeoma. If she refused now, they would not just suspect her, they would be convinced she was guilty. Slowly, painfully, she exhaled. Fine, I will do it. The market erupted in murmurs, some in excitement, some in anticipation. The trial was set. But Ifeoma didn't know that the moment she agreed, her fate had already been sealed. That night, Ifeoma sat in her tiny room, staring at the flickering flame of her lantern. The once busy marketplace had gone silent, but inside her heart a storm raged. The trial loomed like a dark cloud over her head. Would the Dibia truly be fair? Could she trust a process that had already turned the whole market against her? She needed help, someone who still believed in her, seeking help. But no one dares. She threw on her wrapper and stepped into the night, moving through the dimly lit parts of the village. First, she went to Mama Nkechi, an elder trader who had always given her motherly advice. She knocked softly. Silence. Then a hesitant shuffle. The door cracked open, just enough for one tired eye to peer through. Mama Nkechi, please, I need your help, Ifeoma whispered. The old woman sighed. Ifeoma, my daughter, I have always loved you, but this is bigger than you think. I cannot get involved. Before Ifeoma could protest, the door closed. She tried others, friends, even distant relatives, but the response was the same. Fear, avoidance, silence. She was truly alone. As she walked back in defeat, a raspy voice stopped her. You should leave this village, girl. Run while you can. Ifeoma turned sharply. An old woman, bent with age, sat outside a crumbling hut, staring at her with milky white eyes. Ifeoma had seen her before, just another beggar in the market. What do you mean? Ifeoma asked, stepping closer. The old woman chuckled darkly. You think they fear the Dibia? No, they control him. Your enemies have already bought their justice. The trial is a trap. A chill ran down Ifeoma's spine. Who are you talking about? Who is behind this? The old woman smiled, revealing blackened teeth. The one you least suspect, the one closest to you. Ifeoma's breath itched. Could she mean Chinwe? Before she could ask more, the old woman disappeared into the shadows. Shaking, Ifeoma hurried back to her room. But as she stepped inside, she gasped. A strange man sat in a corner, his face hidden in shadows. Who are you? Ifeoma demanded. He spoke in a low, smooth voice. A friend, a man who dislikes injustice. She took a cautious step back. What do you want? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small leather pouch. He placed it on the table. Inside this bag is a simple charm. Use it. and the dibia will declare you innocent, no matter what. Ifeoma's breath caught in her throat, a way out, a chance to escape the trap. But could she do it? Ifeoma's fingers trembled as they hovered over the small leather pouch. The man's voice was smooth, like oil on water. Take it, and you will walk away free. No trial, no disgrace. Her heart pounded. Was this her way out? Would she be foolish not to take it? She picked up the pouch, feeling the weight of her decision in her hands. The room was silent, except for her home breathing. Then, a whisper echoed in her mind. No shortcut is worth your soul. It was her mother's voice, a memory from childhood. Ifeoma's grip tightened. This wasn't just about proving her innocence, it was about who she was. If she used this charm, was she any different from those who had schemed against her? Her lips parted, her decision hanging in the air. Then, a faint creak. She turned sharply. At the door, just beyond the flickering lantern light, a shadow moved. Someone had been watching. Ifeoma's heart stopped. She clutched the pouch instinctively, but it was too late. A pair of eyes gleamed in the darkness before vanishing. Who was it? Had they seen everything? The man smirked. Decide quickly. The world isn't kind to fools. Ifeoma's breath itched. The shadow had vanished, but her pulse thundered in her ears. She rushed to the door, peering into the darkness. Nothing, no movement, but the night suddenly felt heavier, like unseen eyes were still on her. She turned back to the strange man. I need time to think. His smirk didn't fade. You don't have time, girl. The world moves faster than your doubts. Ignoring him, she hid the pouch inside her wooden storage box and sat on her mat, wrapping her arms around herself. Sleep never came. At sunrise, the market was different. Ifeoma felt it the moment she arrived. The usual greetings were strained. People spoke in hushed tones. Eyes flickered to her, then away. Something had changed. She spotted Chinwe at her stall, arranging fresh yams. Ifeoma's stomach twisted. Chinwe was quiet, too quiet. Was it her? Ifeoma approached. Good morning, sister. Chinwe froze for just a second. So quick, Ifeoma almost missed it, before turning with a small smile. Morning, Ifeoma. Something in her eyes was different. Did she know? Before Ifeoma could say more, a voice rang through the marketplace. I heard something strange last night. A shiver ran down her spine. The whispers grew louder. Had the secret already escaped? Ifeoma's heart pounded as the voice rang out. I heard something strange last night. The market stilled. Conversation stopped. All eyes turned to the speaker, Mama Oju. She stood near her stall, peeling cassava, her face carefully unreadable. Ifeoma's breath caught in her throat. What had she heard? Had she seen something? Mama Uju let the silence stretch, savoring the attention. Strange footsteps, whispers in the dark, the rustling of wrappers when people should be asleep. She looked around slowly. Perhaps someone was up to no good. The air thickened with suspicion. Ifeoma's skin burned under the weight of the stares. She stole a glance at Chinwe. Her sister was staring down at her yams, not reacting at all. Was she ignoring the gossip or hiding something? Ifeoma forced her voice to stay steady. Mama Uju, the night is full of sands. What exactly did you hear? Mama Uju smiled shyly. Only the guilty demand details. A few traders chuckled, fueling the growing unease in the market. Ifeoma turned back to Chinwe. She had to know if her sister was the one who saw her. Chinwe, did you hear anything last night? She asked carefully. For a split second, Chinwe's hand hesitated over a yam. Then she looked up, her face calm. No, I slept peacefully. Why? Did you hear something? Ifeoma's stomach twisted. Was she lying? Or was Ifeoma just being paranoid? All morning, Ifeoma felt the whispers following her like shadows. Customers took longer to approach her stall. Sessions dropped when she passed. Something was brewing, and she still didn't know who had seen her or what they planned to do with it. Ifeoma wiped sweat from her brow, forcing a smile as she handed a bundle of peppers to a customer. But the woman barely met her eyes, her hands moving stiffly as she counted her coins. Then, without a word, she turned and walked away, straight to Chinwe's stall. Ifeoma's stomach tightened as she arranged her goods. She felt someone watching her. Auntie Ngozi, an older trader known for minding everyone's business, leaned in from the next stall. "Be careful where you step, Ifeoma," she murmured, her voice just low enough for only Ifeoma to hear. Ifeoma frowned. "What do you mean?" Auntie Ngozi tapped the yam with her knife, her eyes unreadable. Not all footprints disappear. Some stay behind, waiting for the right time to be seen. Ifeoma's heartbeat stumbled. "Who told you that?" she whispered. Auntie Ngozi only smiled, picking up her basket and walking away. The morning dragged on, but Ifeoma could barely focus. Her chest felt tight, her thoughts circling the same question. Who had seen her that night? As she packed up her store for the day, Chinwe suddenly spoke. "It's funny, isn't it?" Ifeoma glanced at her. "What is?" Chinwe dusted off her hands, her tone casual but too smooth. "How some people think their secrets will stay buried, but the truth always finds a way out." The words hit like a slap. Ifeoma's fingers clenched around her basket. Was that a warning, a threat, or was Chinwe just making a random comment? Her mind screamed at her to ask, to push, to confront, but if she was wrong, she would only make herself look guilty. She swallowed the tension, forcing a chuckle. Yes, funny indeed, but inside she was shaking. Someone knew something, and the walls around her were closing in. Ifeoma stacked the last of her basket, her fingers trembling. The market still buzzed with life, but today the voices felt different, low, cautious. She moved slowly past a group of women, pretending to adjust the wrapper around her waist. That's when she had it. "I heard she did something in the dead of night, something she shouldn't have." People will do anything to win. But what if it backfires? Ifeoma's stomach dropped. She took a sharp turn down another row of stalls, her breath coming too fast. Were they talking about her? Or was she just imagining it? As she bent to pick up her basket, her fingers brushed something thin and folded. Frowning, she picked up a small crumpled piece of paper. She unfolded it, and her entire body went cold. "I saw you." Her grip tightened. The words were small, hurried, almost rushed. Her head snapped up, scanning the market. Who had put it there? Who had seen her? Was it Chinwe? Later that afternoon, Chinwe approached, but instead of her usual coldness, she was smiling. "You look tired, sister. Here, I got you something." She handed Ifeoma a bottle of palm wine. Ifeoma hesitated. Why now? Chinwe had never been this thoughtful before. Her head felt heavy as she took the bottle. "Thank you, Chinwe." Chinwe just smiled. What her sister's for? Then she turned and walked away. Ifeoma stared after her, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. Was Chinwe toying with her, or was she completely innocent? Either way, Ifeoma knew one thing. She couldn't ignore this any longer. She had to find out who knew the truth before it was too late. The sun had begun to sink, casting long shadows across the market. Ifeoma's heart pounded as she hurried behind the old storage hut, glancing left and right to make sure no one was watching. The spot was exactly how she left it, or so she thought. Her fingers dug into the loose soil, reaching for the charm she had buried days ago. Nothing. Her chest tightened. She dug faster, harder, hands shaking. Still nothing. Her blood ran cold. Someone had taken it. A voice cut through the silence. Looking for something? Ifeoma froze. Slowly, she turned her head, and there stood Chinwe. Her hands were crossed, her expression unreadable, but there was something in her eyes, something dangerous. She knew, and she was enjoying this. Ifeoma's breath itched as Chinwe stepped forward, slow and deliberate. She didn't look angry. She didn't even look triumphant. She looked amused. You seem troubled, sister. Is something missing? Ifeoma swallowed hard, forcing a shaky smile. I don't know what you mean. Chinwe tilted her head, her fingers playing with something small and smooth in her hand. The charm. Ifeoma's stomach twisted. You know, Chinwe said, her voice light, too light. I've always wondered how you suddenly got so many customers. How they just flocked to you overnight. Interesting, isn't it? Ifeoma's fingers dug into her wrapper. Chinwe held up a hand. Shh! A pause, a slow, knowing smile. I'm not going to expose you. Ifeoma blinked. You are not? No, at least not yet. Chinwe leaned in, her breath warm against Ifeoma's ear. You see, sister, I have decided to give you a choice. Silence, tension thick as smoke, then a whisper that sent chills down Ifeoma's spine. You can confess, or you can do something for me. Ifeoma's mouth went dry. Chinwe stepped back, tossing the charm into the hair playfully before catching it. I will give you time to think. We are not too much. She turned and walked away, leaving Ifeoma standing in the dust, heart pounding, mind racing. Ifeoma sat outside her store that night, her mind racing. She was trapped. Chinwe held her secret. That was bad enough. But now, she felt something even worse creeping in. Fear of the unknown. Someone had taken the charm. Someone had placed that note. And then, just as she was deciding what to do next, a shadow moved in the alley behind her store. She jumped, turning sharply. I was wondering where you would notice me. A deep voice, calm, unhurried, dangerous. From the darkness, a tall figure stepped forward. Mama Oju, the most powerful trader in the market, respected, feared, ruthless. Her eyes gleamed in the dim light. In her hand, she held the charm. Ifeoma's blood turned to ice. You thought you were smart, didn't you? But the market has its own eyes, Ifeoma, and I see everything. Ifeoma's throat closed. This wasn't like Chinwe's taunts. This wasn't a game. This was a warning. Mama Oju leaned in, her voice dropping to a deadly whisper. Chinwe plays with power. I control it. You have two choices, child. Serve me or lose everything. Now, Ifeoma isn't just fighting Chinwe. She's caught in something far bigger and far more dangerous. Ifeoma swallowed her fear. If she wanted to survive, she had to think fast. She met Mama Uju's gaze and forced herself to smile, a small, knowing smile. Serve you? She whispered. You think I'm the only one you should be worried about? Mama Uju's eyes narrowed. Ifeoma leaned in, lowering her voice like she was revealing a dangerous secret. Chinwe has been waiting for this moment. She has had her eye on your throne. She told me everything, how she would take power in this market. And you, Ifeoma scoffed, you are in her way. A heavy silence. Mama Oju's fingers tightened around the charm. You expect me to believe that? She said, her voice low but sharp. Ifeoma tilted her head. Then tell me, who do you think gave me this charm in the first place? Who convinced me to use it? Mama Uju's breath itched. Doubt flickered across her face. Ifeoma had her. She pressed on, feeding the fire. Chinwe isn't scared of me. But you? She gave a slow, dangerous smile. She's terrified of you. And when people fear you, they plot against you. Mama Uju's face darkened. She was thinking now. And that was all Ifeoma needed. The marketplace was in an uproar. Traders whispered, pointed, watched, all eyes on Chinwe, who stood frozen as Mama Uju's thunderous voice rang out. You thought you could deceive me? Mama Uju spat, her face twisted with fury. You wanted my downfall, my own apprentice? Chinwe shook her head wildly. No, Mama Uju, I swear that the market had already turned on her. Women muttered, shook their heads, stepped away. Who can trust such a person? One trader whispered. A snake, another hissed. Chinwe's lips trembled as the weight of rejection crushed her. She had lost everything. Ifeoma watched from the crowd. A part of her felt satisfaction, another part guilt. She had won, yes, but at what cost? And just as she stepped back, ready to disappear before the traders turned their eyes to her, a voice rang out. Wait! All eyes turned to her. Ifeoma's heart pounded, but she forced herself forward. There is more to this story. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Mama Uju frowned. What are you saying, Ifeoma? Ifeoma took a deep, shaky breath, and then she told the truth, all of it. How someone had planted a charm in her hands, how she had been convinced it would help her succeed, how she had been used. A few traders gasped, others muttered in shock. Then silence, until a single voice cut through it like a knife. Who gave you the charm? Ifeoma swallowed. She had been asking herself the same question. Why had she never thought about it before? And then it hit her, like a thunderclap, like lightning striking. Slowly she turned, and there she was, Auntie Uma, standing at the edge of the crowd, silent, watching and smiling. Ifeoma's blood ran cold. It was you, wasn't it? She whispered. The marketplace fell into a stunned hush. Auntie Uma only sighed, shaking her head as if amused. Oh, Ifeoma, so young, so naive. Mama Oju's eyes narrowed. Auntie Uma, what is this girl talking about? Auntie Uma stepped forward, and then she laughed, soft at first, then louder, until the whole marketplace shuddered. I only did what was necessary, she said smoothly. I only opened the door. It was you who walked through it, my dear. Ifeoma's stomach twisted. Auntie Uma turned to the traders, her voice calm, persuasive. Think about it. Have I not always guided you? Have I not always looked out for the best interests of this market? But the traders weren't convinced. Suspicion flashed in their eyes. Mama Oju snorted. So it was you all along? You pitted these girls against each other for your own gain? Auntie Uma's smile flickered. A bead of sweat rolled down her temple. The traders started muttering. A few stepped forward, and then, leave this market. The words came like a sharp blade. Mama Uju crossed her hands. You have no place here anymore. Auntie Uma's eyes darkened. For the first time, she looked afraid. She had lost. She had played her game too well, and it had backfired. The traders turned away from her. Mama Uju spat on the ground, and Auntie Uma, she clutched her wrapper, trembling. Then she turned to Ifeoma. She stepped forward, so close Ifeoma could feel her breath, and then she whispered, You think you've won? You think this is over? Her lips curled into a slow, chilling smile. Oh, my dear, this is just the beginning. And with that, she turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Ifeoma watched that girl, a chill running through her veins. She had won, but somehow she knew the battle wasn't over.